Hey there, welcome to No Nonsense November 11. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and our no nonsense lesson for today is I quit. Today we are talking about, for Supersize Your Business, cutting your losses and knowing when to cut your losses. And I thought, well, that is actually, excuse me, something I get all choked up about. It's a topic that I don't talk about very often because I personally am not awesome at quitting things. I tend to stay too long. And I was reading some psychology as I was researching the cut your losses. Where does it mean? Where does it come from? It's a 200-year-old idiom. It came from the London Stock Exchange, but there's certain industries that it's harder and we get sucked in more, and it's harder to step out and cut our losses. I think of the stock market. Lost millions of dollars in the stock market over my lifetime. And it's easy to follow a bad investment and get tied in and think, oh, I've got so much into this. If I just hold on to it longer, I'll recoup my investment, etc. Doesn't always work that way. And the whole topic of sunk costs comes into play. How much time, energy, emotion, confidence, infinite things that and money, literally money, we've invested into something often impacts how willing we are to walk away or not walk away, to cut our losses, to let go of something, to stop doing something that we've been doing for a long time. Maybe I think of relationships, I think of businesses, I think of jobs I've been involved in where I stayed too long. I was over it, but I still stayed there for whatever reason. And it usually did have something to do with confidence or thinking and not wanting to admit that I made a mistake, or that beating myself up because I knew I stayed too long in a situation, afraid of disappointing other people. A lot of times we stay in and keep doing things that aren't awesome for us because we don't want to let our family down, because we don't want to let people we love and care about down. We don't want to let the people that we're working with down, etc. But we need to remember that it's important for us to know what our limits are, set those limits, and then live by those limits. Draw your line in the sand and say, this is what I will do, this is what I won't do, and then live congruently with that. So how do you know when it's time to quit and walk away? Like I said, I tend to be a diehard and think and believe truly in my heart that there's always a way to figure things out. Now, there's always a way to solve problems and figure things out, unless, of course, they involve people or situations that are outside of our control. If you're starting a business illegal to do, or immoral or unethical, and you can't do it anymore, you have to cut your losses and say, okay, I'm no longer going to go in that direction. What's a different road I can go down? In relationships, when we're in relationships, they depend on other people. I can be all in on the relationship, but if the other person or the other people involved aren't, it's not going to work out, because we all have to be equally committed if we're going to achieve the goals and objectives that we want. So how do you personally know when it's time to cut your losses? I am continually improving and getting better and better and better at this. I listen to my gut. I listen to my intuition. I really pay attention to numbers and results, and are things going the direction I want them to? Is this just a little normal blip in the ascension to something I want? Or is it a trend that's showing me that what I'm doing isn't working and that I'm going in the wrong direction? And if what I'm doing isn't working, then I need to do something else, try something else. I don't necessarily have to quit, but I definitely have to take a change of direction and a change of thought with respect to what I'm doing. So controlling my emotions is important when it comes to determining what is the right direction, what is the right thing for me to do. Not chasing my losses. It's easy to get into the belief that I'll figure this out, I'll figure this out, I'll figure this out, no matter what, I'll figure this out. And then as we're having losses, chase after and try to catch up and recoup those losses, those sunk costs, those things we've invested into the relationship, things we've invested into our business, when the economic indicators or the numbers are telling us, yeah, you could put $1 million or $1 billion into this and you're still gonna come out negative. So we want to think about the different ways we can have losses: money, time, energy, emotions, confidence, self-esteem. There's infinite ways we can feel losses or that we've sunk more into something than we're going to get out. Now, I like to remind myself and other people that I'm working with, everything is experience for us, and any experience we have is not a loss. It's not a sunk cost. It's something that we always can find a gain from. Every experience that we have, even if it feels bad at the time, I'll tell you right now, my divorce felt bad at the time, but I gained so much more from that experience, and I dreaded. That's one of those things I didn't cut my losses, and I stayed too long for a whole lot of reasons that were justifiable at the time, but looking back now, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was just silly to believe those things. But we do the best we can at any given moment in our lives, and we make the choices that we feel are right for us at the time. And because we made those choices and decisions, they were right for us at the time. But hindsight's always 20/20, and it's easy to look back and then judge ourselves and say, yeah, well, that was silly. Why did I do that for so long? And that's how we learn. That's how we get better and better at understanding how we need to personally decide and make decisions and choices to cut our losses, to let go, to know when to quit, or maybe it's not called quitting, it's just taking a different road, going in a different direction. We always have the ability every single day that we wake up to make a different choice, make a different decision, go in a different direction. And it's not necessarily quitting. I guess it's only quitting when we decide to not live anymore. But up until then, it's all just experience. So share in the comments below, how do you know when to quit? How do you know when to stop doing something and take a different direction, go in a different direction? How do you know when to let go of something and cut your losses? This inquiring mind would love to know. Share in the comments below, and I will of course be with you tomorrow with another No Nonsense November. Little piece of it, I guess, wisdom and advice and lessons that I've learned, or am still learning in this case, along the way in our journey called life. All right, have a great day. I will of course be with you tomorrow.